Change, independence, a laser focus on D3. Hi, I'm Irene Smith, and to us, those three ideas, change, independence, and D3 focus, explain our success and why we're in the finals. In the next 5 minutes, I'd like to walk you through our top-line analysis regarding why the primary race played out the way it did, how we are applying those insights to our general campaign, and why we are brimming with optimism for the general. Please view this as an introduction. This presentation is by nature a 30,000-foot view, so I acknowledge up front that we will skip over some detailed data. But I would truly appreciate the chance to dive even deeper into more granular analysis of campaign results when we meet. For anyone watching San Jose politics, it's clear that the D3 race is shaping up to closely resemble the mayor's race. The Chavez and Mahan camps fairly evenly split citywide. In the D3 race, the moderates, of which I am one, also split evenly with Labor's Torres. Of course, the difference in D3 is that the moderate bloc was more evenly parsed between three excellent candidates, and I tip my hat to the strong campaigns run by my opponents Joanna Rao and Elizabeth Chen Hale. These results played to our expectations and reflect D3's diversity and community vibrancy. But if you look closer at the data, it's clear that Torres's appeal is constrained. He only wins outright in pockets of D3, and he hits a below majority ceiling across most of D3. While he won 44% of the primary vote, he only met or exceeded 50% in a quarter of the precincts. In fact, it's our moderate bloc that has strength across the whole district, not just in patches of strength. It has always been our contention that Team Irene is the most viable moderate candidate against Torres, and the primary election validated that belief. We had the most second-placed finishes across the district, suggesting clearly that we had and continue to have the broadest, deepest, and most inclusive appeal in the head-to-head race against Torres. One of the keys to our campaign's success was that our money works very hard. We are very cost-effective at getting out our message and getting our supporters to the polls. We always knew that we were going to get outspent. One of our competitors in the primary outspent us 2-1. So we are very focused on messaging that goes viral and delivers more. Our campaign is bold, it's vibrant, it takes chances, it gets talked about, it ruffles some feathers. That's what we want, and that's what we will continue to do. Let me be upfront with you about this. We are not going to play it safe. The nature of our campaign is to reverse the legacy of government failure regarding D3, to speak truth to power, to rattle some cages, and to tap into the broad and completely justified feeling of frustration D3 voters feel. With that as a backdrop, let's transition to our path to victory in the general. As everyone knows, turnout in the general is likely to exceed the primary substantially. So in a tight race like mine, securing those new voters is key. And here's the good news. Those voters are likely to incline toward Team Irene, and here's why. As an independent, not surprisingly, independents are a key element of my coalition. And people forget that independents dominate the U.S. electorate, more than Democrats and Republicans, and increasingly so. However, independents show their strength mostly in high turnout general elections, not in primaries, for a variety of reasons. Remember, primaries are often party affairs. Though San Jose is nonpartisan, this dominant group flexes its muscles in general elections. So when we look at the primary election, we anticipated that our turnout was slightly depressed, and we would see a lot more Team Irene in the general, enough to erase Torres's slight lead over the moderate bloc in the primary. You will likely hear that the new voters will trend Torres in the general for demographic reasons. We completely disagree. We see November's new voters as Team Irene reinforcements and the force that will tip the scales in our favor. Second, we need, of course, to secure the moderate coalition. We believe that Chen Hale and Rao supporters will likely trend toward us in the general, and there's a good deal of distance between their moderate positions and Torres's rather extreme left-wing posture. For us, the key to securing those voters is to continue to draw bright line distinctions between our reasonable agenda and Torres's more discordant positions. And drawing those bright line distinctions, making it clear that Torres's agenda does not represent all of D3 and is limited by the rigid demands of his labor special interest base. These are key to our campaign success. This means we need to continue to claim the thought leadership position in this campaign and reframe the whole campaign onto ideas and policy argument. We cannot and will not let this race turn into a parade of sound bites and nice-sounding intentions that are completely divorced from policy reality. And that's our first strategy for success: bright line differentiation. We need to make it clear that Torres's agenda is not a D3 vision, but rather a paint-by-numbers approach that appeals only to a limited portion of the D3 community. And second, we need to focus our spend on those new independent voters. In 6 precincts alone, those voters that did not show up in the primaries totaled more than 10,000. This will be the group that puts Team Irene over the top. And finally, acknowledge that we will likely be overspent, but make sure that our material works harder and delivers $2 for every dollar they spend, just as we did in the primary. In the end, our challenge will probably be money. And while we're confident that we can raise the money to be competitive with Torres, there is no getting around the fact that we will likely be outspent substantially by special interest in out-of-town labor funding. That means our response needs to galvanize the local, grassroots D3 community people like you to keep us from being swamped by dark money. This has been the base of our support to date, and there is no reason why it can't take us across the finish line in November. So in summary, we believe we are well positioned to win in what will be a tight race with Omar Torres. The dynamics of the mayor's race and the profile of likely new voters favors us. The rigid, constrained, extreme nature of Torres's agenda limits his appeal across D3. And our independent, radically inclusive approach is tailor-made for the diverse D3 electorate. We are confident that the power of our independent approach, our alignment with the whole of D3, and our grassroots momentum will bring us victory in November. Thank you, and I look forward to meeting you in person to discuss these and other ideas more fully.